So you want to make your own action figures? Well, you're in the right place. Today, I'll be teaching you all about kitbashing. And kitbashing is just a fancy word for getting different parts from different figures, different toys, and putting them together to make something new. Now, I've been customizing action figures for many years, but I only started kitbashing in the proper sense about 4 months ago when I began producing my animated series. Now, full disclosure, the kind of kitbashing that I do can be very expensive. I spent like $2,000 producing my most recent episode. But if you watch to the end, I will show you how you can do your own kitbashing for much cheaper. And if you want to buy anything that I mentioned in this video, I will leave you links in the description for everything. Let's go. Now, you can't make an action figure without a body. And the bodies I use are 1/6 scale. What does that mean? Well, basically, the average man is 6 feet tall. 1/6 of that is 1 foot, which is 12 inches. So the figures I use are usually like 12 inches tall. You can also do 1/12 scale, which is 6 inches tall, and there's a whole bunch of other different types. But this video is going to be specifically about 1/6. Now, for 12-inch bodies, you have a lot of options, okay? I think the best overall is probably TB League because it literally has a silicone body with like no joints. It looks like real human skin. It's awesome, okay? But it costs like $80, so you gotta be really committed to buy that. Another option is called World Box. Now, I personally don't like World Box that much because the neck looks a bit weird. I think the joints are kind of strange. There's an ab joint that just looks really bizarre and it's kind of useless. I made a comparison actually between TB League and World Box. You can watch that if you want to find out more information about these two different bodies. But World Box, I think, is not that great. The only real benefit to World Box is that the joints are really strong. So you won't have to worry about the figure getting loose and breaking apart and stuff like that. This thing is very durable. It even says durable in the name. This is the World Box Crazy Durable 2023 AT020. Now, my favorite plastic body is COO model, okay? The only downside to this is that it's not TB League, okay? It's not seamless, it has plastic skin, it has the joints and stuff, but aesthetically it looks a lot better than the World Box does. It's very nice to look at, and its joints are decently strong as well. The neck doesn't have any articulation, so you can only move the head up and down on a ball joint with just nothing in the neck at all, which looks better visually, but does limit articulation possibilities. Now, we're not only talking about adults here. There are also 1/6 scale child bodies. The one that I use is by a company called Mr. Z, and I think it's pretty nice overall, but you can see the screws in the back, all the joints and stuff. That doesn't look great, but if you have it fully clothed, you should be very fine with this being a very young, like I'd say, maybe a 5 or 6-year-old child, maybe 7. It's not very big, but it's also not super tiny. If you're looking for a 1/6 scale preteen or teenager, then these are two figures that I currently use. For a preteen, there's this 1998 Anakin Skywalker figure. He's supposed to be 9 years old. This figure though doesn't have very good articulation, and the boots seem to be glued on or at least extremely secure because I was not able to pull them off. And I got this figure for about $7, so he's super cheap. For a teenager, I would recommend the Harry Potter figures by Mattel. They're just the right size and the articulation is almost good enough. The only thing really missing is a ball joint for the head and an ab crunch. This figure you see here is a customized Draco Malfoy and costs about $25. If you want a body for like a toddler or a baby, then I recommend a brand called Obitsu. Now, these dolls are honestly just adorable. They're based on the style of Japanese anime for the most part, and they're extremely cheap. Now let's talk about the heads, okay? So for 1/6 scale, there are like basically infinite heads you can use for the adult male bodies. There's Asian, American, there's black, white, anything you can think of, there probably is a 1/6 scale head for it. And bodies too, as far as color and skin color and stuff like that goes. But there are some key things that you need to know about 1/6 scale heads. The first thing is rooted hair versus sculpted hair. What do I mean when I say this? So rooted hair is when the figure has like what looks like real human hair, kind of like how Barbie does. And sculpted hair is when the hair is molded from plastic. Now, I personally love rooted hair because it just looks so real. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to use 1/6 scale for my animated series, because I want them to look as realistic as possible. And you gotta go rooted if you want realistic. You just have to, I'm sorry. But heads with rooted hair will often be a bit more expensive than a sculpted counterpart. If you want that quality, you gotta pay for it. The second thing you need to know about 1/6 scale heads is necks versus no necks. So some of these scans you find, if you go online like eBay for example, they will have these necks attached to the head that you can't remove. And because of that, you won't be able to use every head with every body. If the head already has a neck, then you need to find a body that doesn't have a neck, for example. However, I do have a solution for you if you encounter such a dilemma. I actually made a tutorial about how you can remove the neck and therefore fit the head on a body that has its own neck already. You might want to check that out. Now we come to the clothes. Now, this is another reason why I decided to do 1/6 scale for my animated series, because the clothing options are just limitless. I mean, you can get t-shirts, jeans, sneakers, ancient Japanese samurai outfits, police gear. Like, you can get anything. You can make anything you want. If you can imagine it, you can make it. But one thing to keep in mind is that if you use a seamless body like the TB League I mentioned earlier, a lot of the clothes that are on eBay and Etsy or AliExpress and stuff won't fit those bodies because they're a bit bulkier than the plastic bodies are. Now, as I mentioned, this can be a very expensive hobby, okay? But as I promised, I will tell you how you can do this for way cheaper. There's a brand called Click and Play. They make, honestly, like really great action figures. They don't look quite as realistic as far as the detail goes as some of the other 1/6 scale figures are, but they're still pretty awesome, and I'm also using some of those for my series.
Hey, does anyone live here? We just want to talk about what color coffin you want.
They have soldiers, policemen, they even got ninjas, okay? And the price for some of these things is like $20. So you can get an entire 1/6 scale ninja or whoever for super cheap compared to other brands. Now, if you've watched this far into the video, then I'm assuming that you not only care about customizing action figures, but maybe you like building dioramas and stuff like that too. If you do, I've made videos on that subject as well, and you should definitely check them out. Thanks for watching. Peace.